I'm going off the rails on a crazy
Zombies!
Hey guys. It's your host here, Kenny, and we're coming to you with another Off the Rails podcast.
Special edition.
This one's going to be going over specifically how the campaign went down from our perspectives, Q&As from the audience, and from each other as players and DM about the Last Move campaign that we just did using the Last of Us module that we found. And we just kind of played it out to the best of our ability. And, well, I, for one, had a blast. So
it's also kind of an AMA. So those in the audience that want to, go ahead and jump on in. We'll do comment reads and we'll answer any questions.
I'm joined by my good friend.
Yeah, I'm Tony. Hi, everyone. I'm the guy who sits here, pushes all the buttons. I played Nick O'Barry in this campaign, and yeah, that was weird. The campaign was, and the way that it ended and everything. Just nothing that I thought was going to happen really actually happened, except for my part specifically. But as before we derail again, I am joined with.
Hey guys, I'm Ian. I played at one point Corporal, but just regularly Daniel Barnes. And that was a very interesting campaign. As per usual, I'm joined by.
Hey guys, I'm Taylor, and I played Nova Anderson, and yeah, that last episode took a real turn for me. And we are joined with.
Hey everyone, I'm Mike. I played Dr. Thibodeau. Can't believe I made it through.
Yeah, that's me too. Especially that last episode there, I kind of expected to die.
I kind of think we all did.
Yeah, pretty much.
Tony, you have this as the backdrop, right?
No, I have the other one as a backdrop. 1 second.
You nerd.
I think
I went through all that effort just for you to not do it.
Why is this not
Try to
working?
admit, I like that setup a lot more than the old
Nope,
place.
that's not what I want.
I just wish I could get a clear picture of it. Maybe I need to screw some light bulbs.
And
Try and screw like the other one
if you move
and leave
the
that one in.
tennis ball.
why is this not working? You know what? This wouldn't be an
I could just turn the
OTR
lights
without things breaking. 1 second. I'll fix it. I'm fixing it. I promise. Things will happen. Oh.
Sorry, you're
Wow.
calling me. Hello.
That's my daughter's ringtone to you?
Apparently.
Okay.
Come to find out.
Sorry. Oh.
Rude.
Haha. Nerd.
That's my daughter's ringtone to you?
That's everybody's ringtone.
There we go. I fixed it. We're good.
Better
Sorry, I
answer.
didn't hear that last part. What? Okay.
So,
Alrighty. Thank you. Bye.
Ian, why don't you tell us how this started?
Yeah, Ian.
Because it was kind of
Make sure your
your
mic's
idea.
on.
Wow.
Can't
Anyone
take that
else?
right now.
Par for the course.
In what context, how this started? What do you mean, like the beginning of the campaign, how the campaign idea came about?
Yeah. Why don't you take us away with the origin story of this whole campaign?
So, I was at work, and
Minding his own business.
always, and I got a TikTok video shared with me about the module, and I had recently watched the show. I had been a fan of the franchise for years. I'd seen playthroughs of the games. I always thought the games were very interesting. And we had been doing Dungeons and Dimwits for a while, and I really liked the D&D game. I love the tabletop, dice rolling. And so then I saw that they had a Last of Us one, and I immediately was like, this would be really fun for the studio to do. Give us a break from just the standard 5e, get us into something a bit different, kind of a different flavor, but still the same content style. And I thought it would be a good one-off adventure for us. So I brought it up with the other members, and everyone seemed to like it. And so I ordered it, waited a ridiculously, obscenely, retardedly long time for that module to arrive.
Monetized.
And like we haven't been before.
Redacted. Remember, we say redacted here.
You're redacted. Anyways, waited an obscenely long time for this stupid
Just
book
because
to
it's
arrive.
true doesn't mean you have to say it.
Shh. The adults are talking. Sip your water. And then yeah, we brought to Kenny and. Do you value your liver?
No, he does not value.
Have
Anyways.
you seen how much I drink?
And
Can we appreciate that he has a liquid death thermos?
It's okay. So it is referred to as the slaughter bottle.
I love this. I love everything about it. You know,
And
I was there when Cameron bought it.
I told him to. He sent me a picture, and I was like, please do now. I will pay you. And I did.
So you got the module, Ian.
I got the module. Brought it to you, good old Jim. And upon looking at the module, we realized it broke down how the mechanics of the game worked, how the weapons worked, how combat worked.
Liquid death into your liquid death
It is a slaughter bottle.
thermos. It is still liquid death. It still says liquid death on the thermos.
Yes.
Thank you, children. Anyways,
He's just sitting there stroking it lovingly. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
so then we realized there was actually no written campaign in it, which then led to me and Kenny kind of brainstorming a lot of different things for the campaign. For example, one idea we both came up with was the I-205 bridge collapse. That was something me and Kenny actually workshopped together.
Which
There was
excellent.
a couple of different things in the very beginning that Ian was privy to when I was just brainstorming, and the I-205 bridge collapse was one of the earliest things. The very first character I invented, Ian and I were on our way to Wild Horse. It was one of our get-togethers to go watch a movie. Mm-hmm.
This is the one that I didn't get to go on, huh?
Wasn't it, Doctor?
No, hold on. So we were going down. Does that
Yeah,
bother anyone?
What just
Nope.
happened?
No.
Is
That
anyone
light
bothered by
times
that?
out after
good.
being on for so long.
Okay.
Oh yeah, it does time out after being on.
Well, we're not having to roll tonight, so yeah, we can just vibe.
Also, does everyone understand that I have a tennis ball dangling from my?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what's causing
That's
that.
common for garages, man.
Yeah, actually, that's so you don't run into your
Yeah.
stuff.
There's
over
a
there.
huge cement pillar right here, actually in front of my radiator.
Is that what's underneath all
Yeah.
of that? That's awesome.
So we're
okay.
driving down I-84. We're going to Wild Horse. We're gonna watch a movie. And I told him, I was like, dude, there has to be like an evil doctor.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I think I already know who the main bad guy is going to be. And at that moment, I was like, what would you think about Dr. Adam Wright? And
like
he calls his creations the Rightborn.
It
Like, that was the first character I invented for the campaign.
Mm-hmm. It was gold from the start, man. Kenny had a lot of good ideas. Lockjaw was one that I didn't help make Lockjaw, but I was privy to Lockjaw's existence before all of you, and I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
That was a very interesting one for me.
No, one that I was very hush-hush about that no one knew about was when you guys met, like, Cletus and the other hillbilly guys.
Who did not last very
They
long.
didn't last very long. There was Bray Wyatt and Cletus.
How disappointed were you when well, not us, but Ian here just
Annihilated them.
Look,
just
I was the
destroyed-
party problem solver.
Less
I solved the
dialogue
problem.
I have to remember. Less story I have to remember. Just all of a sudden, all right, well, there goes that path.
What was that path going to be?
Well, most of it was just like dialogue and interactions. So here's one of my bigger philosophies as a DM is I don't invent solutions. I invent problems, and I let you invent the solutions. Unless it's a puzzle and it is designed with a solution, or I have a particular like gimmick I'm trying to do, I don't really come with solutions in mind. So there's the characters, their ideas, their philosophies, and then you guys hit them, and then something comes out of that in its most pure and generic form.
What I really liked about that day was when it ended and we went off air, and like the defeated look on your face, because the only thing he said to us, you bailed already at this point. The only thing he said to us was, I invented backstories for them. The only two NPCs that he had. He was like, I gave them first and last names. They had a backstory.
Well,
Sometimes it just doesn't matter.
it's hard knocks, man.
Oh.
Never gonna stop.
So,
Oh, come on, buddy. It's okay.
it's my most recurring character is Buddy Knox. Every campaign I've ever run no matter what, Buddy is in there.
Who was our
somewhere.
buddy in Dungeons and Dimwits?
We haven't come
He
across
hasn't,
one yet.
he hasn't come up
He
yet.
hasn't shown
Okay.
up yet.
Okay. Just
I haven't figured out where I wanted to put him, but I know where we're going, and I'm so glad you brought this up because we're jumping a little bit ahead of schedule by talking about this next thing. But
This
I
is off the rails, so.
I cried laughing today, coming up with the dialogue for my new Buddy Knox character.
You broke yourself.
I did. I was driving route, and then the guys were like, "Are you okay, bus driver?" I was like, it's so funny, and I can't tell anyone." But I have the accent, who he's going to be, what his family is, what he does in Saltmarsh. It's
I gotta watch some
And
Ian's
Scottish
character will kill him
documentary before
first 10
Fast
seconds in.
Friday.
I hope not.
I mean, Gerhardt's second language is lizard tongue. He's rather cool with the lizard people of Saltmarsh. He doesn't really have a hate for them.
There you
Were
go.
ravens. He hates were ravens.
Hey, you know what? I can get behind you on this one. All right,
Them things suck.
Them filthy featherbacks.
them filthy featherbacks.
Whether or
know,
not we will run into those
I
is
gotta
another
start-
story altogether.
I'm telling you, if we do, I'm gonna.
But
they're
back
going.
to The Last of Us,
Nope.
because that's
No, not back to The Last of Us. That's
Last
not what we're
Move.
doing. We are at the
the
last,
last move. Same thing.
Big difference.
I'm sure.
Copyright strike.
There you
Well,
go.
as someone who has now gone through,
Mike knows what I'm talking about.
as someone who's played through both games and the TV show of The Last of Us, and now done a full playthrough of The Last Move, I can tell you there are significant differences in a lot of the world, but good differences. Not bad, just differences to be sure.
Yeah, I was not really leaning entirely way too heavy on the zombie aspect and their encounters. This was more of a social campaign.
And then there was the episode where was like, "Oh, you guys are gonna face 18 monsters, and we killed them in one go."
Yeah.
Sorry I burnt down your
Far
forest.
McGee over here.
18 Shramblers. Don't I still have a Molotov? Yes, I'm gonna throw the Molotov.
Mike is like the anti-Smokey.
Where
like,
where are
this
you
man-
throwing the Molotov? Well, I noticed that there's some trees.
Dr. Thibodeau rolled out of bed that morning and said, "Only I can start forest fires."
Something like that.
It
Yeah.
called for an extreme measure.
Dude, you won't hear me hating.
I helped. I was right there with you. I don't. Nick O'Barry said, "Yeah, let's do this." Speaking of which, I don't mean to derail you. Go finish really quick what you were gonna say, and then did you forget? Are you muted?
He's
eating, Tony.
chewing.
The one time I didn't want you to direct my attention was the one time you're like, "And now Kenny is the one," and you couldn't take a friggin' hint.
Not one hit. Nope.
Kenny making strong eye contact and like exaggerating.
This is why I don't drink before podcasts. Okay.
That's water.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
From your brand new slaughter bottle.
Yep, and my slaughter bottle from Liquid Death. Not an ad.
Not a paid endorsement.
Yeah, not
We'd
a
love
paid
to be.
endorsement. Yes, oh man, would I take a Liquid Death sponsorship in a heartbeat? I would almost quit the studio to take one.
Understandable.
Find me
I've been
Liquid Death.
really into tuna fish lately. That's been like my hook.
Tuna fish?
Yeah.
Well, that wasn't on
Tuna fish
turn.
That was out of
covers
left
a
field.
lot.
Well, welcome to OTR.
It's call off the rails for a reason. But tuna fish, it does check a lot of boxes.
I've never been a big fan of tuna fish.
So Bumblebee Tuna, Liquid Death. Who would your sponsorship deal person be, Taylor, if you could choose one?
We're not going to talk about who I want to sponsor us, so move on.
Adam, got it. What would yours be,
That's
Mike?
exactly what I was thinking.
Tory
Tory Gray.
Tory
Yeah.
Gray?
Yeah.
Sponsored by OnlyFans.
I feel like I
That'd
have.
be really weird.
Wasn't gonna go there, but I was thinking it too. That was a joke. I was like, nope, that's a joke
You know
too
what?
far.
You know what? If I ever do an OnlyFans, I will name.
No,
Just
no,
for it.
we're not.
Just
we're-
because.
this is not a rail that this train should be on. All right.
I'm not the one who brought up OnlyFans.
I'm just loving the fact she said if.
If that's what I'm
I
saying.
know.
I like to tell people I have a channel where it's just me eating food. And that's all you're
I
seeing.
heard you talking to your mom about that.
Well, it started with she's like, "How are you going to play it for the new place? Feet pics?" And I was like, "No, actually, my OnlyFans is just me eating food."
No joke. It was me, my son, his mom, and then he was just talking about this.
Good God.
Ian.
No, Mike. Who would your sponsorship person be if you could be sponsored by a company? If your choice,
Jack Daniels.
Yeah,
I
don't blame
yeah.
him. Can't hate
100%
it.
can see this. Who would yours be?
oh dude, throw a dart at the wall. AAC, PSA, SIG, Vortex.
Glock.
Anything with firearms. Got it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Benchmade, Kershaw,
If
Gerber.
it goes pew pew or brat brat,
I don't know. Glock's a little. I prefer SIGs. But like, okay, yeah, you're right. I would.
it's a
take Glock
reliable
money.
brand, Ian.
I would take Glock money.
There's utility in that.
It's a reliable brand.
You see where they just came out with the new SIG MCR version of the air rifle?
Yeah.
That's going to get someone killed.
Also, hey Tony, are you just projecting because you carry a Mall Constitution Glock 19?
You're talking about because it's got the bronze star? You're not going to trigger me with it this time, okay?
This
It was-
time?
Yeah, I've got it pretty good for a long time.
Yeah, for like years, he would be making fun of my ostentatious Glock 19 that I have because it's got like its bronze star flag pattern on it, and it would just
It's like one
it
step
was-
below the Trump Glock.
It was literally, it was either get that or get the Trump Glock. That were the only two options. I normally just go with a straight black firearm because I don't want to be ostentatious or anything
Why
like
not just
that.
get the Centennial 1911?
See, and then mine's bright
They didn't have it.
blue with paisley pattern all over it.
What I could afford was a Glock 19, and they only had two, and one was Trump 2020 or the Bronze Star. And I was like, well, I'm going to go with the Bronze Star. So,
And then he was
Not
like,
a
"Make
political
America great
endorsement.
again? Say
What's
less."
Not a political endorsement.
no, not a political endorsement.
Yar.
Okay, so hear me out. I looked at the Trump Glocks before, and the ones that are engraved a bunch, I look at it and go, especially where it's like engraved a bunch on the frame, I look at it and go, with how those engravings go, that might actually be more advantageous to shoot with.
It's motion
It
sensitive.
has a motion sensor.
Because like it's got more cuts for you to like purchase on. So I'm looking at it going, that might actually be like a semi good purchase just for the frame, because like it's got a bunch of cuts on it. Like you would send it to an aftermarket shop to get grip
See,
cuts
I
on
think-
it. So I look at it, I'm like, yeah, that grips the band better than the standard Glock frame.
See, I think
I would just be
your
afraid
wife,
that it always be
Tony.
too
Right
much just to
there
the
will
left
do.
too much.
I think your wife has the same gun that I do, just a different color.
Yes,
Yeah, because hers is the black cherry color and mine's the
like a teal, isn't
yeah.
it? Yeah,
But
no.
both of them have the paisley pattern.
Yeah, I believe those are Glock 42s, right?
They're X43s.
X43s, yeah. But yeah, so now that we've spilled the beans on all of our firearms,
Oh, no, we haven't even started on all of firearms, and we are not going to.
I didn't tell y'all what I'm carrying.
so, but so how'd you come up with your character, Ian?
So my character.
Hold on, before we start with you, how did you start with your character, Mike? He's barely said anything this whole podcast. We have a special
I've been
guest
talking.
on.
Just basics of gaming. There wasn't a healer of any type, and I thought, considering the genre, one would be desperately needed.
God, it was.
And,
Oh, so much.
The reason we made it through the campaign, ladies and gentlemen,
Mike.
the doc.
Thibodeau. All right.
Tito indeed. Well, how about you, Taylor? Why did you decide on your character? Smuggler,
I
huh?
wanted a taller person than what I am now. So I chose somebody who was taller.
A taller, more
Hey,
flexible.
she was
possibly
in
more
my character is
well-known
9 inches
character.
taller than what I currently stand. Shut up.
No, I'm just listen. What I'm
That's almost a fucking
confounded
hat
by
with
is
heels
we
on.
asked, "How did you come up with your character?" And your answer, quite literally, is, "I just wanted someone taller."
I wanted to be tall.
Just that's it.
No, I wanted to be tall.
Your height
And-
was never really relevant.
It wasn't.
No, it wasn't.
People could have thought of you in any way possible, and I don't think it would have
I don't know,
changed.
I was
Bari's
really- I was
fat
real-
belly was more relevant than your height.
No, I didn't really do much. I just kind of come up with a random character, and then when I got a bow, it was a whole different ballgame.
Yar.
Okay.
Yar.
All right. You, sir.
Especially when I found out that I could customize arrows.
From OnlyFans to Ket.
Okay. Now you waited patiently. Now you can tell us.
So
So Kenny.
If
Sorry.
you did, I was going to. I was so close.
I know that's why I said so, and I waited.
Heartbeat away.
I'm so sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm done. I'm done. I promise. I'm
He
done.
lies.
Are you done too?
He lies.
Oh, Kenny didn't say anything.
Exactly. So anyway,
Oh, by the way.
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna commit. He's gonna do it.
We are farmers. Dum 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 dum.
Not an ad.
The only person getting in your way is you. I haven't said anything.
So I watched a TV show a long time ago called The Shield, and the main character of that show is a police detective named Vic Mackey, and
Oh,
he's a
yeah.
corrupt cop, but he kind of goes back and forth through
You must have been really hungry. You ate
a lot of the
boxes
series
Cheez-Its.
between whether or not he's a horrible, irredeemable piece of crap and someone who might be somewhat redeemable. Spoiler alert, he's a horrible, irredeemable piece of crap.
Really good show.
Amazing show, one of the best of all time.
Wasn't it canceled before it finished?
No.
Oh, really? I thought it
No,
was.
they rushed the ending like they did with most.
Well, The Shield was so well regarded and won so many awards and everything that it's what got Sons of Anarchy able to be made. Like, The Shield walked so Sons of Anarchy could run, kind of thing.
I do like that actor. That actor is really good.
The
Michael Chiklis,
Yeah.
real good actor.
Well, I loved the character stereotype, the archetype of like the corrupt cop who kind of beats a crap but kind of not. And so when I was designing Daniel Barnes, I thought, I always try to play like very white knight hero characters. I'd like to try my hand at a bit more of a scummy sleazebag, so that's why I made it so I started out, his first appearance is him shaking down Obari for stuff and taking a bribe.
I was going to say mission accomplished.
Yeah, so I really tried to make Barnes just a piece of crap. But I was hoping throughout the campaign that the campaign would allow me to kind of try and do a redemption story, because I did think a redemption story would be good with him. Didn't really get to do that.
Every time he tried, something in the story just out of left field would stop it from happening.
But it was fun. I almost think it was more fun just to be a piece of crap and take bribes. And there was a point in the campaign where I took a dead guy's gun and then I lied to everyone about what I actually did with it, how I actually smuggled the gun back in and kept it in my things. That way, if I ever wanted to murder someone, I'd have a throwaway gun because
Nice.
I love doing stuff like that because it was really fun to kind of live the corrupt detective fantasy. So I had a lot of fun making him just a irredeemable piece of crap.
In the words of Ian McShane, villains have the best lines.
True that.
Well, Tony,
Yes,
how did you invent your character?
Santa Claus.
Santa Claus.
Santa Claus, quite literally. So I got this. I have
He
a
means to say Violent Night is where he got his character.
nope, not that piece of crap movie.
David Harbour, he loves David Harbour's performance.
Nope.
Ian agrees.
What are you talking? His performance where he whined, where he cried, where he screamed like a little girl, where he had to be like motivationally freaking uplifted by a 7-year-old, not once, not twice, but 4 times during that whole movie.
Yeah, Nick O'Barry and Buddy Knox.
Literally just fell asleep during the whole. They're in the theater. That's how bad that movie was.
Wow.
Yeah, Nick
Triggered
O'Barry.
much?
Yes, so much. No, actually, the slight inspiration for it, I do have a bit of a Santa obsession.
Go ahead. Do a rage. Do a
Not
rage.
sure where it came from, to be honest with you, but it's the kind of gruff and tough Santa Claus thing came from a movie called Fat Man.
Huh.
I will say that is a good movie.
It was a really good movie. It did what Violent Light only wished it could do. Kind God, I hate that movie so much.
Oh, okay. So
like
you-
I
you
would.
made Santa Claus.
Listen. I'm gonna go on a bunny trail. I would rather sit through 3 back-to-back showings of Glass than watch Violent Night.
Ooh.
That's
that's
some
brutal.
firm criticism from you of all people.
Okay.
And so you do.
And I was gonna say, I think we all know how I feel about Glass.
Best movie ever. You love it. M. Night Shyamalan, favorite
I
director.
almost
You have
bent
a lot
my
of weird
slaughter
favorite
bottle.
picks.
No, I did. I very much based it off of Chris from Fat Man, who plays Santa Claus. He's played by Mel Gibson. Did an amazing job with it. And then I wanted it to be somewhat. When I play RPGs, I want to actually be like a part of it. So I put in as much of me as humanly possible into my characters. So I kind of mixed the two. Hence the reason why Nick O'Barry was a school bus driver who enjoyed camping, he was a family man, all that stuff. So
Must
that's
be
why.
facing the door.
Hi, Kenny. Where's up, Wire?
No, we'll have to just turn on that.
There you go.
I guess
I don't know.
What are we
The
doing
reason I
here?
chose to be a smuggler is because I wanted to be somebody who would just pull random crap out of a bag. It's like, why is this here?
Oh, okay.
Building my character was really different because I wanted him to be more of a survivalist, but when we sat down together and we started like putting it,
I really did egg you on.
I
for-
had so much pressure from Kenny to build my character as a brawler, and it worked out so really well actually. At
First
first,
session,
not
punches a dude's head off.
zombie, not dude, but yeah. Not just as the gameplay of it, because that did definitely come in clutch a lot, but just the way I had to mold my character around being a kind of a brawler, a pugilist, if you will.
I got to give you kudos for that, man, because when you're playing a game that is based on the bad creatures infecting you by touch or spores or whatever,
And your go-to
and you're
thing to throw
you're
hands.
going
My
up and-
go-to, yeah, I'm about to catch some hands. And so that was the hardest part, was like I had to try to make it look like Nick O'Barry isn't suicidal and isn't exactly reckless, but also doesn't care if he dies.
Proceeds to carry on
And
a
hence you-
freaking
that's why you
bomb
got
in his
infected
jacket
so
for
fast.
Yeah,
3 sessions.
that's the reason why I had to build the story, as in like his wife and children died, and he's Catholic. Hence the reason why he's not suicidal. He just is kind of like not stopping himself from dying, type of thing, because he wants to be there with his family again. But at the same time, he believes that if he kills himself, he ain't getting there. So
Well, the amount of pain that you projected through your character via your backstory and the way it came out in gameplay was the reason Thibodeau decided, no matter what, I'm healing this guy. I don't care if I heal anyone else. I'll save whoever I can, but this
oh,
guy.
so that's where that came from.
Yep.
I got to be honest with you. I was so confused towards the end. It's like, no, I'm keeping you alive. Why? I don't get it.
Oh, I did it. They saw me. I've been spotted by the cops.
Oh, come on. There we go.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I spent the first half of the campaign expecting to be led into an ambush by you and shot in the back because Fedra Firefly.
The way that whole Firefly thing came out from the beginning
Oh, sorry, caught me off guard with that.
sucked.
Well, I thought at one point
I did a really good job of concealing that and talking my way around it,
You did.
but to no avail.
That was really hard to, like, because obviously we had inside knowledge of you being a Firefly, you know? It was hard to try to,
Keep it separated.
yeah, keep it separated and then, like, still kind of walk you into, like, the pointed questions of how are we going to figure this point out? The discussion between the two of you specifically was really good verbal cat and mouse, in my opinion, on that one. That worked out really well. Like you were really trying to just not say, "Listen, I know you're a terrorist."
Well, my guy, the whole thing is the evidence that Barnes put together. He had just as much suspicion that you were a right cultist as you were a Firefly. It wasn't so much that he was accusing you of being a Firefly. He was accusing you of just not playing on the level. And he's like, I don't know what your deal is, but I know there's something with you and you're not telling us. And I don't like that you're scheming behind our back. Was where my guy was coming from with it, because the way the evidence lined up, you had just as much, if not more, evidence showing that you were a right cultist, and so Barnes was almost afraid that you were going to stab him in the back if he didn't go with Wright's plan. Then you were a Firefly.
Other than keeping Nick alive, more than anything else, I wanted that right guy gone. Which, as it turns out, he ended up saving everyone, which I thought was pretty ironic.
Right. Well, I mean, did he really save everyone? Because he was about ready to throw that vial on the ground. Who's the one who took the arm off?
You.
Did I take the arm off?
With an axe.
I could have sworn it was her with an arrow.
No, she shot it with an arrow. He didn't care because there's just an arrow in his arm now.
No, I shot it the once it was just stuck in his arm, and the other one I literally blew off his hand.
No, he cut the arm off.
Oh.
With an axe.
Oh.
And then he tried to stomp on it, and I shot him back so he couldn't stomp on it.
Yeah.
Then he grabbed him, and I taught the last.
Because I remember the
link.
flask was in the hand of the severed arm.
Yeah, because I held it up. I said we could. I said we need more of this. That, by the way, so the voice of Nick was a complete accident. If you guys remember when we started, I actually had a really bad cold. I was sick for like, what, 12 weeks,
Yeah.
something like
Yeah.
that?
Long
It was
time.
horrible. So when I realized I started getting better, I was like, well, we've already done so much of my voice like this. I'm going to have to keep it. It sucked every Tuesday.
I just realized that I have to learn how to throw a Scottish accent in when I talk on Fridays.
Maybe. You don't have to.
I was
I'm
gonna
related to
use-
you two, and both of you two do it. I have to.
Your character is a cousin. You don't have to. Now, if you want to, that'd be hilarious. And I strongly recommend. No, what? I take it back. You have to. 100%.
I was gonna use a Nolan's accent for my character.
A what?
Nolan's accent for my
I-
character.
I was wondering why you
opportunity.
didn't.
Yeah.
Because it's too high maintenance and it's too easy to slip out of.
I was expecting you to go a little more Creole with it.
Yeah.
It's a shame we never got you to go. I'm about to make a name for myself here.
No.
I almost
I really wanted some
I
Remy
would have killed
LeBeau.
somebody.
I was really
That is
hoping to
funny.
hear some Remy LeBeau there.
I've been practicing accents
I
for
shot the cards.
the new
and they go boom.
campaign.
I almost slipped up one night and called her Cher, because that's how
Right.
you refer to.
More
Yeah.
chill.
Yeah. And then I realized, nope, not going down this road. I do not want to have to do this every single week.
No, I'll tell you right now, you made a smart choice because as someone who had to do that, oh, it sucked.
So,
Voice
fun
actors,
fact,
I have a strong respect for. Yes.
Barnes and Thibodeau actually shared a mutual hatred of Wright, and that's actually the reason I stole the gun and was having Anderson try to get me supplies for a suppressor. I was going to try and assassinate Dr. Wright, sneak into his lab and with a suppressed pistol and execute
I was
him.
going to
in
try to
his
poison him.
And the DM had other
I
other
didn't know
plans.
any of this.
sleep. Yeah, I didn't tell you, but that's why
kind
you
of the
noticed.
point.
That's why you noticed. I picked up the dead guy's pistol and was like, gonna stuff this in my bag. And then I started, hey, can you get me some 9mm, some suppressor materials? Because I was going to try and make a suppressed pistol and try to assassinate Wright.
I want to ask you a question.
What's up?
What were you going to tell Samson before Taylor stole your thunder? I want to know because I can feel
You
it.
were
You were
ready to have
you
a
were so getting
conversation and
ready
I
to
blew him up.
monologue, and then here comes Leroy Jacons.
Yeah.
Katniss Everdeen with her explosive arrows just totally ripped your thunder out from underneath you.
I asked if he wanted me to take the shot. He said, "Take it." I shot.
Yeah, with an arrow, not C4, Hawkeye.
So for solid 10 seconds, I considered betraying the party and taking his deal.
Ooh.
Oh,
Ooh.
I genuinely considered it.
That's a
Because-
long time.
Yes.
Well, at this point, all my attempts at character redemption have kind of not worked. Barnes has just kind of been relegated to the hammer. And most people look at Barnes, as I felt at least, most people looked at Barnes and just thought he was just a thug. And so I thought, all right, might be interesting to betray the party and see how that works. But I decided, doesn't really feel like something he would do, especially after seeing how the Rightborn are and how it almost seems like a fate worse than death. I don't think he would go for it. But so I had two thoughts. I initially thought, I wonder if Kenny would let me betray the party. And so I thought about it, and then I was realizing my guy is already kind of injured. He is already kind of a disadvantage against Samson. I thought maybe take the Rightborn and then betray them and fight them like superpowered against superpowered. But then Taylor just blew him up, and that was kind of the end
I
of that.
asked if you wanted me to take the damage.
I did like that Samson was the sniper.
Yeah.
I
Say that again. I didn't quite hear.
I said I did like the fact that Samson was the sniper.
thought my counter sniping was quite entertaining. That one shot I took was ridiculous.
Underneath the coffin there is my book. Not only do I keep all of my D&D notes in there, but that is where I wrote most of my script for the campaign, which I
So-
would hurriedly
Okay, so
scribble
not gonna
down.
lie, when that stuff came up,
Usually the night before.
I was getting to the end of Iron Flame, and literally that was the plot twist at the end of the book. I had just finished it, and then Kenny said what he said to it was pretty much the same thing. It's like, I just read this
What plot twist?
about trying to get him to turn into a Rightborn.
Ooh, me too. Me too. No, a lot of what inspired that was I was just sitting there, and it really I was somewhat gleaning information off of Tony. 100% was.
100%.
No shame, no shame. I was sitting there. I was like, so who do you think each person would fight in the
You-
finale?
you-
And you fed me answers. And I was
So
like,
plagiarized.
This sounds pretty cool.
Oh, hold on. Who did you think was gonna fight who?
Oh, you didn't watch that episode?
Oh, you're gonna have to go back and watch it.
Probably.
Yeah, it's
I-
on.
You were supposed to fight the Rat King. That went way off.
Yeah,
You
Way
were
off.
supposed to
I didn't
go
follow the Rat
in.
King because it didn't make sense after that.
You were supposed to go into the tunnels with me.
Yeah, I anticipated you going into the tunnels, and no one that went into the tunnels was you. So
I didn't have you pegged to fight really anyone except for maybe Olivia, and that was primarily because, so your character, not a shot at you, but it's still going to take a shot at you. Your character hasn't done much through the whole campaign, okay? So, I was like, this would be a great character moment for her as a smuggler, because really as a smuggler, all she's done is just everything for herself. She hasn't really done much for anyone else. Even when you're bringing supplies into the QZ, it's so you can get paid. It's your job. So I was like, she would break off and go to steal the antidote, or what Nick would need to become a Rightborn, so that way Nick's a superpowered versus Lockjaw.
Nope, instead I went after Hunter.
I said for Daniel Barnes that he would either be pinned up against Hunter, mostly just because they are of equal class, or Samson, and that was for more of a storyline type of thing to it, because building up to it, Samson and Daniel had kind of a somewhat of a father-son style symbiotic relationship going, and even though Daniel Barnes was kind of a piece of crap with Phaedra and whatnot, he still somewhat believed in.
Phaedra?
Did I say Phaedra?
Yes, you did.
Nope,
did.
Phaedra.
Bleed over.
Yeah, little Freudian slip, I guess. He still somewhat believed in the whole that their mission was that they're trying to make the world better again, type of thing. And then you, right?
Who else could it be but right? Yeah, there was
Yeah,
really no.
100% right. That's where all of my predictions were, and I thought that I was just predicting anything. I didn't know I was helping you write the story.
well, it's nice to get thoughts and opinions and whatnot.
One thing I thought was really interesting was how each of us built our characters. Like, Tony, you spec'd so hard into just fisticuffs being a pugilist.
Brutality.
Yeah, you sucked at everything else.
Not my fault. I roll bad.
My brother in Christ, you hit 3 shots in the entire campaign, and they were all in the last episode.
Not true. Wait, did you say I hit 3 shots or took 3 shots?
Hit.
Oh, okay. I was like, I took 15 shots in the whole game. Missed all but 3.
Yeah, I love how
And
you
one of them was a
became-
point blank range with a shotgun.
Yeah, you just became Captain America, which I loved. Just
Shield.
yeah, quite literally. That all durability points to the shield that went out the window. It just became what is Dr. Thibodeau's primary weapon? The shield.
I want to know
Which,
where
for
your
medic,
strength
fitting.
came from, because like as far as feats of strength go, you've done nothing until you fought me with a door, and then the door exploded between the two of us.
That was
It
hilarious.
was literally Thor and the Hulk. We gamma clapped a door, and it's turned into splinters.
So I did not have a high brutality. I only had +1 to my brutality, and that was happenstance, clearly. I pretty much had everything into medicine, obviously, and that role, which is why I showed it to Taylor, was in that 10.
Oh,
And if I hadn't got that, he definitely would have overpowered me.
Yeah, it was 2 competing 11s, which was wild, and I didn't see that coming. But it made for a really cool story.
do you want to know what I wanted to do?
What did you want to do?
Really quick before I let you do your thing there. The Claymore.
I so thought you were going to blow up.
It was
The
really
Claymore.
glad I got to take it off
I wanted to fight Lockjaw so bad that when we got the opportunity to grab a Claymore, I took it and I kept it in my jacket that entire time, because what I was going to do was when we got to face Lockjaw again, because I knew it was going to happen, I was going to tell him open wide and shove it in his mouth.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to do.
Gross.
And then
I
like,
don't know what
and
sucks.
then
What
it
sucks
kept
is
on.
I realized like halfway through the last episode, while I was rolling for all the damage that I did with the arrows, I was just doing arrow damage. I didn't do any of the actual bow damage, which was supposed to be like an extra 2d20. So I could have like killed people so much faster.
There was a moment when Havens is like, you need to bunk with people, and it's not going to be who you want it to. And I was like, all right, cool, I'm bunking with you. I was going to interrogate him and hold the Claymore in front of him. I was going to a dark place.
Rough, dude. Wow. Very few people that were actually like genuinely good in that campaign. Havens was one of them.
I
I had no ulterior motives for that character.
That's why Nick looked at me
One
and
of
was
the
like,
few.
you're a good guy, and then just walked
I'm gonna be
away.
honest with you.
I loved his response, too.
Oh, that was so out of pocket.
Touching Olivia in the face.
She just woke up and was like,
Hunter! Why is she bound?
He just knocked her out. Bam! Whoa!
I didn't honestly expect to complete that roll.
Hey,
My
hey.
brutality modifier was 0 the entire game. So I was really surprised.
okay, what was, you had like one ridiculously high modifier. What was that?
My aiming modifier was a +10. My intelligence,
Ow.
or my elusive was 4, and my insight, or whatever, was 7.
Did you have any like skills?
What did you do? Did you touch something?
Like bloody knuckles or fire?
Yeah, I had bloody knuckles. Never used it.
How? Because
Okay.
like, I'm thinking of like all the points. Like, did you give her more pills to spend than anyone else? 'Cause,
No.
like,
No. Matter of fact, we never really spent pills after we found them.
It's true.
Yeah, we did all of
I
our
did.
pills.
He did.
He did.
I still had 5 by the end
I
of
like-
Yeah,
7.
I had 5.
I had 5.
I had 5 after when we
Well-
first started, and that's what I stuck with the whole game.
But you found pills.
Yeah, I did. I found 25. I just never spent them.
Yeah, in the Last of Us games, you find those
35.
everywhere. Like
You
every
guys-
other
you guys-
room, you find like
You
5
guys didn't
pills.
spend any of those pills to beef your guy
I
up?
spent 30.
Did you?
I did.
You didn't?
I spent none.
You're the worst smuggler. Can I get another liquid death? It's
No,
cool
I
and
found more.
refreshing.
Not
I
an-
found
not
more
an
than
endorsement.
that. No, I did. I spent it. There was one time. I
Just
think it was
one for
when
now, thank
he
you.
did it that I did actually turn some in. I just don't remember what I got.
Nice,
I upped
crisp
something.
crack.
Had you not given us the points, the pills, whatever you want to call them, at the beginning to build the characters that we made, if you ever play that again, I would recommend giving out more pills
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
so that players could advance their skills and such a little bit better. Because as it was, there wasn't a lot of development from beginning to end
No.
other than roleplay.
yeah.
Yeah, other than the fact that Nick was bleeding motor oil, I had nothing that I gained from that.
No, same. Barnes did not gain a single skill the entire game.
I get that. Yeah, 100%. There was a lot to keep track of, and I decided to make sacrifices here and there.
No, I think you did a good. As far as like a story goes, I think it was great.
So okay, not
Taylor, watch out underneath your foot. There's a cracker there.
what the hell? There is a cracker right there. So not pertaining to this, but I've been part of this group chat, and I haven't said almost all but 5 words in this group chat. And somebody, the other guy, that sent me a message. He says apparently answering the phone, Pete's Pizzeria and a clinic yesterday was a loss, but his mom called. That's how he answered his phone today, and apparently that was not a good idea. But my response to that was if my mother had called, she would have come up with something equally as inappropriate or worse, because we've done that for years. But he asked what I was doing, and I said we were talking about D&D, and I showed this to Mike, and he said D&D is all fun and games till someone seduces a dragon and casts fireball.
Rough,
Sounds
buddy.
like something Zach would do.
It does, it totally does.
100%.
Oh, I don't even know what that was, but it fell out.
Okay, so you got Kenny. You got a book out.
Yeah, this is my journal of all things and my thoughts and notes and whatnot.
All right, let's hear a little bit about your book, and then it's 8:06. I want to try to get into what we're looking forward to in season 2 of Dungeons and Dimwits.
So,
I had one thing I wanted to say before we moved on from the last move. but
Okay, go ahead.
Kenny. No, Kenny, go ahead. I'll say mine afterwards.
Cool.
does it pertain to what we were just talking about?
Yeah, about how we each played our characters and how they're built.
Well, go ahead and say it now while we're on the subject.
Yeah.
So I tried to build my character very much as a middle of the road. He had a slight preference towards aiming and ranged combat, but I tried to build him to be very much kind of a jack of all trades. He had bonuses in almost every category, and he had a lot of really good skills. And then he kind of just became the party sledgehammer. I killed pretty much everything. Even points where if other characters are in combat. There's this one time where we were doing watches, and Taylor's character specifically came and got my guy to go handle a stalker. She's like, "Hey," I think it was a clicker. And "Hey, can you come help me?" And I just thought it was hilarious how my guy became the de facto kill it guy. Which also, in Benelli we trust.
In
That
Benelli.
shotgun got me through the entire campaign pretty much.
Not gonna lie, because I've had the chat up on my computer the entire time we've been playing, and David's side comments throughout the whole game was hilarious. And as soon as you brought Julio back, he about lost his mind.
Yeah.
He did
I think
lose
Julio
his mind.
might also need to be a recurring character for you with how much David loves him.
I thought it was amazing because when you brought him back, literally a few minutes just before that, Kenny, for the audience, Kenny can't see the comment section. He can't see anything about the broadcast. I run that, and Taylor
I just
helps out in the comment
monitor it
section.
when he's not paying attention.
Literally a couple minutes before you brought Julio back, David was like, "I cast Julio." Wait, you can't cast Julio. He's too powerful. And then you're like,
And then
"Julio's here," and he's like, "Ah!"
He was praising Julio.
So, praise be to his awesomeness. It was amazing.
Yeah, Julio was not planned, randomized character that I was like,
Started
there's gonna be
out
some
on,
people
like, our,
helping.
like, first
and then Julio
mission.
ended up being really good, and I was like, oh. And then you guys liked Julio, and I was like, oh. And then Dave was like, Julio, Julio. And I was like,
I gotta bring him back.
yeah, that's why not.
With the flamethrower.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
started with the flamethrower, so we finished with the flamethrower.
I liked your build of your character. It was a really good aspect, really rounded character. I think that was the biggest problem though for you, because your character was rounded enough that it seemed to be more utility than development.
We joked a lot about Olsen Green coming back. I honestly have expected him to show up.
Same. I expect us to open up
We
the Doom
talked
Vault
so
and have
much
him
about
be in-
it.
You know what kind of pull that would have been?
That would have been like some MCU level.
That man got his head blasted off.
I still carried his pistol the entire rest of the game. It was just in my bag.
See, now that's what you should have used to kill Hunter.
That would have been funny.
Well, think about it though. In game, I did not know that was Hunter. I just knew somebody shot at me, and I shot back and blew him up.
So, I want to talk about what I wrote down.
What was
As
what was that conversation going to be like
What?
if I actually got to talk to Hunter?
I don't know. I honestly have no idea.
Oh, hey, it's
He was
you,
expecting
the
It would've been
something.
weird.
girl one.
So this is what I wrote down in anticipation for the death throes of the campaign. I wanted. So the first thing I wrote down is Dr. Adam Wright is hidden behind blast doors. He is working on spreading Percipio. Nova needs to sneak through the Ground Zero. I was going to put Ground Zero inside the Child Rehabilitation Center. Didn't turn out that way at all.
Sorry.
To release the lock. Possibly fights the Rat King in the tunnels on their way there. And then I put down Morgan's going to fight Hunter. That's what I predicted.
Oh,
Didn't happen. Nick is going to fight Lockjaw. You predicted
I
that.
was dead set on making that happen.
Barnes is going to fight Samson. So I wrote down after that the Oregon Health and Services University is going to be the final grounds for the end of the campaign. I put Hunter was going to be at the Lamb Form Biomedical Research Building. Samson was going to be at the Portland VA Medical Center. Thought that was fitting.
Yeah.
Lockjaw was going to be at the campus service building, because what I was going to do, and I thought it was super cool, and I honestly want your guys' opinions on this, but if there was, and I did anticipate separation. I built that in. I had an answer for it. I typically am against separating the party, but in this particular instance, it was like the finish line's right here. We got split up, and we're going to each tackle our own personal goals. In order to get into the tunnels, I was going to have Nick fight Lockjaw because he was going to be guarding the tunnels, and so she was going to slip by while you were distracting him with combat, obviously. And then she was going to have to race against time to not only turn off the generator, but also escape the tunnels because Lockjaw was going to start flooding them, also while you were fighting him. And then I was going to see if I could, in some way, organically have your character in some way sacrifice himself to save Taylor in the tunnels.
I would have totally made that happen.
And I was going to find some way to like make you die as if you were sitting on like a throne because Santa Claus.
Because Santa Claus.
And I thought it would have been funny, you dressed up like Santa Claus and that's how you go out, like the 13th warrior. But none of that happened.
No, sounds like a whole lot better than what did happen.
The duel between Ian and Samson didn't go out that way because
Sorry,
you
man.
got domed like immediately, and it just
You rolled a
knocked-
natural 100. That was ridiculous.
Yeah, I can't help it. That's the one thing I don't control is the dice. You fighting him in the stairwell was like, this is hilarious. All this dialogue I was inventing in that moment. I was like, words. Maybe I could switch him up, like invite him to the dark side.
Did you actually expect me to take the offer?
It was what it was. Like I said, I don't come with answers prepared. I come with problems.
Would you have let me?
Depends on how I was feeling at the moment. I can't say. I was not expecting you to go after Hunter. I was totally blindsided by that. because I listed everything out and you're like, I'm going after Hunter, and I was like, whoa, this is weird.
He broke
That
character.
totally
Jim
shut down
broke
that whole
character
encounter.
when I said Hunter.
That encounter went from like 2 Firefly agents like going at it to like, all right, this is just going to be an ambush attack, and then we'll see how that works out.
So yeah, they're.
And I was going to have a totally different ending for Olivia, but like you went after it, and I was like, this kind of ruins that.
What was Olivia's original ending going to be?
Because I was still very much on the fence. I wasn't entirely sure, even all the way up to like D-Day. I wasn't sure what I was going to do with Olivia at the end. I was like, is she going to be like Benedict Arnold? She was going to betray? Was she going to side with Dr. Wright? I wasn't sure what I was going to put Olivia at the end, but when she said she was going after Hunter and Morgan wasn't going to go after it in any way, I was like, all right, well, I'm just going to keep her good. And that's how we're going to finish that out.
Well, and then I knocked her out cold.
Because it would have been really nice to see Morgan compete with Hunter over Olivia. But we went different directions. And with Nick, you did go to the tunnels, but you were with Morgan. And I was like, I wonder if I could separate these guys. Didn't really end up happening.
I tried. Who
And-
knew that this dude had the strength of the gods?
It was,
Okay.
Not going to happen, man.
There wasn't really a fun and interesting way, or at least the way I dealt with the situation. There wasn't a fun or interesting way to introduce Lockjaw into the situation. So he just showed up when he showed up. And I was thinking, like, what if he locked them in that building? That would be kind of fun, I guess. And then you guys, like, destroyed him. So I was like, all right. And I mean, they had good HP. These guys had 200 HP. So they got killed outright by like a lot of things. And then when you guys came across Dr. Wright, I thoroughly enjoyed that. Like, that played out beautifully. Like, you guys found him. He was in the Doom Vault. And then you tried setting off C4, and I was like, I'm so glad I prepared this. And then boom, whoosh, and it comes crashing through the building all the way into the basement. I was like, oh, that's hilarious. And then all the comments that came from that and whatnot. And then even
The
at that point,
dialogue
I was
was
like, I'm glad that worked
hilarious.
out. I have no idea what his ending's going to be now. He's just in the Doom Vault now. But you guys did go do your separate things, and then you came back. And his whole thing went way down the tube. I'm glad I got to play Havens a couple more times because you went psychotic, Taylor, with your character. There was, I think story-wise,
I'm sorry, but the look on your face when I said I'm burning down the forest was priceless.
yeah, I get it. Answers are answers, and I can't, as much as I would like to be able to anticipate everything, I can't anticipate everything.
It reminded me of the
watched a lot
1,000-yard stare meme with the dude and the. He
I-
was like,
I've watched a lot of D&D on YouTube lately, Critical Role, Dimension 20, things like that, right? And playing D&D with you guys. There's always this thing that happens to the DM. It's the DM doom stare. And it's
doom
like
stare.
when it's the look that you guys, and I'm particularly looking at the two of you right now. It's the look on your guys' face when the party does something that you were absolutely not prepared or expecting, and you're just like
The look you give Zach and Tony
the
every Friday.
look
And it happens.
every time. It's like I had everything prepared for this, and now it's just all out the window.
yeah, I think each of us had our moments in the campaign where we did that. Like, obviously, you guys, everyone else switching up. You know, you going after Hunter, you two going in the tunnels, me shooting the two cannibals in the cabin, and also me rolling that ridiculous counter sniping hit where it's, I see the glint, got him. That was hilarious.
What's so magical about
Shoot
you?
out the
I
tires.
just totally dome Samson.
Yeah, that too. Though I meant shoot out the tires
But
too.
the amount of healing factor that those final guys had was pretty ridiculous, and even death wasn't necessarily a permanent fix without fire. There had to be fire somewhere involved into it.
Unless
and then
it was
you
Lockjaw.
blew out a tire for Hunter.
So it was
And it was actually Hunter
Okay.
that was going across that bridge, and he went out, and I was like, this is going to be like, if I have a pole, this is my pole. I'm doing this right now.
You did some, like, full wanted curb the bullet stuff with that.
Like I said, it was that, and then literally the next episode, Oh. Hi. That ridiculous.
Yeah.
Roll a 13 with a D10. Made it.
And yeah, he was just doing Overwatch. He was watching the bridge.
Do you want me to just turn on the light?
No, it's fine because he'll turn that thing on, and that's way brighter than those.
Okay.
You can always
But-
change that light bulb.
Yeah, let's change what light bulb? That one?
Yeah. that's-
I could probably put it in one of my.
Hey, so since this is your house now, we can go back to candles?
Yeah, we most certainly can.
Yes.
We can go back to candles.
Wait, we're just playing with candles.
So
Not that kind.
No, shut up for one. I'm not talking to you.
unfortunately,
Continue.
one of the things that because I definitely had fun running the campaign. I really enjoyed exercising a lot of improv, especially with how I responded to you guys. What I was disappointed in is that there was a lot of like things that I set up that I never capitalized on. There wasn't anything that actually ended up happening with you being infected. I didn't cash in on that for any good reason. I wanted to set up. You ended up getting infected really early, and I wanted to set up like towards the end that you were going to have a moral decision whether you were going to take on being fully infected or rejecting it and curing yourself to solve certain problems, and that didn't happen.
What stopped that from happening?
Stop that from happening.
Yeah.
The biggest thing was that I never really got a cure to you in time, and I just pulled that out at the very end.
Okay.
A lot of research got halted in every way possible. The bridge flashpoint never got answered,
Yeah.
and that was like, did I answer that?
Yeah.
Who was responsible?
Right.
Was it right?
Yeah.
What did I tell you guys?
Wright's the one who did it, and Samson agreed with it because Wright justified it as in he was stopping the spread.
Is that all I told you?
Believe so.
Shoot, I don't even know what character I was when I told you that, because it clearly wasn't right.
Havens.
How would Havens know that?
Havens is the one who told Nick.
Havens,
Havens
was
didn't know
useless.
who did it. Yeah, there's no way Havens could have been the one to tell you that.
Am I wrong? Am I
He said
thinking
you
this
said
incorrect?
something about you told us. I just don't remember who you said it through.
I don't remember.
Oh, maybe Havens said that these were rumors.
Yeah.
Then maybe I'm remembering it wrong.
You weren't too far off, though, as annoying as that sounds to make things interesting. It was inevitably Wright who made the decision to do it. Samson was too on the fence about the implications of it, so he turned a blind eye to Wright, who actually hired the Wolfpack to steal the trigger from him. And that was going to be what I was going to tell you guys in the end. And it never came up. But yeah, that was the significance behind the partnership between Lockjaw and Wright, was that he had previously hired him to steal the trigger from Samson, who was in a way aware of what was happening, but willfully chose to ignore it and then just went with it and then did his best to try and justify it to the populace of the QZ. But the reason why the Clark County QZ got overran is because the initial research by Dr. Wright got out of control and it flooded internally through the Clark County QZ, and that's why he detonated the bridge.
I kind of thought that when we got to the hospital over there.
Yeah, so that was his initial. For some reason, I never got around to explaining it. There was I didn't drop any lore detail, but Wright was from the Clark County QZ, just like Nick was.
So, what was the true fate of the Multnomah County QZ? Did it fall like Clark? Was it just a really bad-
100%.
Oh,
A lot of people died.
Well,
That
good thing
was
we got
very
out.
unfortunate what transpired during that episode, because the outbreak got in, it got everywhere, and people died. But this was meant to be a somewhat dark campaign. The book suggests that there's everyone's jaded. There's not truly any actual good people.
yeah.
So it's rare to find good people, and most things are gonna go sideways and bad.
Mm-hmm.
Just when you think that there's something good going on or stability, it just gets tossed.
Yeah.
No, the show and the games especially are very much like that. There's several moments in both the games where you think it's going to be okay, then all of a sudden out of nowhere, everything goes wrong in the worst possible way. There's a specific scene I think of in the second game where throughout the entire game it's kind of established that crafting tables are safe areas. And so there's this one where you're in this apartment building and you go to this crafting table in this apartment and you hear some rustling behind you and you think, okay, maybe the wind's blowing, and you actually get yanked out of the crafting table menu, UI and everything into a fight against like 5 people. And it's very
Wow.
much a, oh crap! And
Well, that's neat.
very,
You want
very
to shock
good.
a player, that's how you do it.
And so that is a lot of what I was expecting with this was everything's going to be okay, and then all of a sudden rug out from under you, it's all crap, you're going to die.
Never really anticipated player death at any point, and I did not. And I saw that towards the end when you were going, I was like, "This would really suck if he dies. We need to do something about this."
Not gonna lie, I honestly thought because I chose to go after Hunter, you were just gonna completely obliterate me.
No, I had no intention of putting anybody in a situation where they would die unless it made for really good story organically.
I was going to say, except for Nick.
But
You
as
had excruciating detail.
Yeah, you
I had a lot of like, this would make for a really good story for you, but it didn't pan out that way in any stretch of the imagination. So
Honestly, your ending, the storyline that you wrote out,
would have been baller.
so much better than what actually happened.
Yeah, we kind of did.
That's all right. You guys made choices, and my number one rule, whenever I run a game, is that the players make the decisions for their characters and nobody else.
All right. On that note, we're going to pivot the conversation from the last move. Anyone got any final thoughts?
Yeah, Havens was rubbish.
Havens was
Havens-
rubbish.
When
That's
it
what she
came when
said.
it came to helping me at the end, yeah, he was rubbish.
Here, you knocked somebody out in front of him.
Before then, he was rubbish trying to save her.
Listen,
you
Havens,
dealt with that guy and told him to run away.
Havens was a good guy. Okay?
He did everything you asked him to do.
Havens was a really
And
good guy.
failed.
What do you
Okay.
mean, and failed?
I asked him to help because he had the rope.
He
I
did.
asked-
He
and
grabbed,
he failed.
he grabbed Olivia and he got out of there. That's
got
what you asked him to
Olivia?
do. And then you fought
after I had to use the rope and take it from him.
was still helping.
Havens was a good guy.
I got one more thing, and then we can move on.
All right.
42.
No. it was a really cool thing you did, and how I liked how we all responded to it. When the kids were kidnapped.
Oh, yes.
That was
Okay.
that was probably my favorite episode.
Quick
the
show of
entire
hands.
campaign.
I know that the audience can't see. Quick show of hands. How many of you guys, that was your favorite episode?
Oh, dear.
Even Kenny raised his hand.
I didn't wait. I was picking my nose.
Listen,
Yeah, very obviously picking your nose.
He may be itching his nose, but his hand is raised, and
Our
therefore
party
it counts.
synergy in that episode was just we were as one.
We weren't really like cohesive until that episode. It was
That
we're
was the
still
one
trying
that
to
really changed Thibodeau.
yeah.
Yeah.
That really messed with his mind and really took him to a very dark, violent place he had never been in before.
Yeah, no kidding. When you shouted "Do no harm" and then domed a guy with a sniper rifle.
I thought that was my shotgun.
It was a
you
shotgun,
gave
but
him.
yeah.
That
Okay,
was the
so
shotgun I gave
worse,
him.
worse,
Yeah.
worse.
Yeah, they hit
You
the
were-
guy got a shotgun running.
You were prone, and the dude looked up and saw the barrel and heard "Do no harm" as he scattered.
Yeah, that guy. He heard a sentence and then he was looking at the gates and he was
Before,
like,
No, he
if
wasn't
you
at
go
the
back
gates
and
after
listen
what
to
he
the
did.
episodes,
"What?" I mean, no one. Yeah, that's a different conversation for another time.
if you go back and listen to the episodes, none of us, even Barnes and Nick, never really worked well together. We were always just trying to figure something out. But the minute you had a character come up and say, "Yeah, well, all these kids have been stolen," every single one of us, as people, not
Locked
as
in.
characters, as the players,
Laser focused.
all turned to you.
Well,
It's like, "Excuse me, what's this now?"
there-
And we all took out our real life frustrations on your characters.
Oh, dear.
Differences we may have, but about children, we are very much united. Do screw with children.
Yes, absolutely, 100%.
All right, now we can move on. Sorry,
Nick comes in with the
that needed to be
2x4.
talked about.
Wow.
This is a stealth mission. If there's no one left alive, there's no witnesses.
Yeah, flash over to Team Barnes Molotoving the camp.
Yes. I love it. All right, pivoting to season 2 of Dungeons and Demons. We got 30 minutes left on the podcast. Really quick, I want to. So, season 2, we're bringing in a new character.
We're bringing in. Yeah, we're bringing in.
Two new characters. Essentially.
Well, hold on a sec. You're getting ahead of yourself.
I am getting ahead of myself. I'm sorry.
For those that heard us in the last time we did OTR, Ian's gonna play a different character. Discussed this with him prior. He's going to change up. No spoilers as to how it's going to happen, but he's going to play a different kind of paladin, a different character altogether. Why don't you tell us about your new character a little bit, just what inspired you to play this character, why did you want to change?
So, I am becoming a more and more big fan of the franchise Warhammer 40k. And there's a faction in there called the Death Corps of Krieg. And I really like them. They're my favorite faction. If I ever actually get into playing them, that's going to be the faction I play as.
I can hook you up.
I might talk to you about that at some point. I love the aesthetic of the old German World War I uniform with the heavy coat, the helmet, and the gas mask. You know, I just love the aesthetic. I love how like fanatical they are about death for the fighting to the death for the Emperor, and how fanatical they are. I love it. It's such a fun character, and
Are you trying to pop your hip back into socket?
I decided it would be fun to get a character like that in this Dungeons & Dimwits campaign, because I felt like Caesar was kind of stale. He didn't really have any character to him. He didn't really have any good character moments. He was kind of just, I hit things more gooder. She had
the baby yogurt.
She had the baby yogurt in her head. She had this voice in her head all the time.
Spear of Annihilation.
Yeah. You had a whole arc about
There was no real arc. My people died.
yeah,
They all got turned into
You had
zombies.
a multiple episode arc about where you came from, getting home to your people, finding your people all dead, avenging your people. It's like that was all you.
Of which I didn't actually do. You did. Because I rolled so bad that night.
And Caesar, the closest thing Caesar had to a character moment, if my memory serves correctly, really was that battle between the Hobgoblins and the Leonids. I tried to have him take more of an active role because, like, Caesar is a professional soldier. This is a pitched battle with other soldiers. He is an experienced professional soldier. I thought that would be a good place for Caesar to shine. But the more and more I played with him, the more and more I kind of realized
Do you want me to
Caesar's
sleeve this box here?
kind of boring.
Because you've about finished it.
He's fun to play. He's fun to use in fights. However, he's also woefully under-equipped for any sort of ranged encounters. Arthur very much showed us. I don't know. I kind of got bored.
I
of
had
Caesar.
so much fun creating Arthur. Arthur is one of the best builds I have ever made for a D&D character. That was a top tier, no mess around. Like, I'm going to kill people with this character build.
You almost did.
There was no fudging either. I didn't fudge rules for him. I didn't overlook anything. I didn't DM something and be like, all right, we're just going to ignore that part.
So
He
that
was
was
100% by the rules. That guy rocked.
So that was an actual D&D
now,
throwdown.
I rolled. No, I didn't necessarily roll as I did a buy-in for him, but I made him as a character that I could actually play, and I was going to have him as a recurring villain, but he died.
Shamgar really made sure of that.
And so
I didn't do it alone.
But I mean, I learned a lot from that because really what it was is I wasn't paying attention to his health because I kept adding up the damage, and then I was like, oh, he's actually dead now. So a lot of it was like me playing him and having fun screwing with you guys, but at the end of the day, he still has health, and I gotta do something about that. But yeah, he was a wonderfully crafted character to be able to do a lot of battlefield control whilst being melee and a spellcaster. all at the same time. And he's kind of the reason why I got so hooked on warlocks, because warlocks are really good at doing that. And part of the reason why I ended up being my current character on Friday Night's Blackburn Thaw.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I didn't go entirely down the path that I did for Arthur. Changed it up, made him a little bit more of a rogue, obviously. But yeah, if I ever play something like Arthur, it's going to be a lot of like, no, you can't. Nope.
You're just gonna nope the abilities.
If I ever come into contact with somebody that's either a spellcaster or melee combatant, which is like, it's your one or the other, I'm going to be a nerd to you. It's just like, oh, you can't play the game. Oh, you can't play the game.
But
Just the fun police.
That was really annoying, actually, especially for Shamgar at that moment. It's like, now you can't move. Fine. I won't play no more. Go on. Sorry, I keep interrupting.
no, you're good. But I'm very excited. I've actually been doing a bit of role prep for this. For the past 22 days, every day I've been taking about a half an hour to several hours, depending on what I'm doing, of German lessons. So that way I can intersperse German into Gerhardt. Also, my character's name is Gerhardt von Krieg. I tried to make the most ridiculously German name I could.
Gerhard von Krieg.
Yeah, von.
Gerhardt von Krieg.
Gerhard.
Yeah, so that way I could throw in some German here and there, and it wouldn't just be like two phrases over and over again. I've actually been learning different things. Like, I learned how to say each of your guys' character classes in German, so that way I could refer to you as the Druid, the Munch,
Oh, well.
die Hexe. So, like, I've actually been putting a legitimate amount of effort into Gerhardt and making him a very fun character. I'm going to try and make him... he is going to be a joke stereotype for a lot of things,
I understand, yeah.
but at the same time...
We have fun.
I'm putting in effort with this character. I want him to actually be something cool.
I'm looking forward to playing with this one.
Well, when you do roleplay your character, keep those different things in mind as what is his backstory like, what are his motivations, what are his goals, and then as you're exploring the world, it's important for you, especially as a player, to really voice those concerns out of your character. This is what I'm after. This is what I'm doing. I know specifically for me as a player, I don't wait for permission to go do things my character wants to do. I'm going to go pursue those things. So
We've noticed. Right, Mike?
A little bit.
So, and that, like, for example, there's somebody else that plays with us at Friday nights that he's not quite as outgoing as other players at the table, and that's something he struggles with because he's more used to, like, the DM carving a path for his character instead of, like, going out and carving it himself. So I'm very much like, this is what I'm about. I'm going to go do it, and then we're going to... Basically, we're going to screw around and find out. And we're going to get there because... just constant 100% success is not a fun story. Failure really drives in a lot of the fun story, and it makes for some really fun jokes along the way.
Yes,
So
it does.
I don't roll the dice afraid of failure. I roll the dice to be like, that's hilarious. Or it's either that's hilarious or that's awesome. Failure is not something to be afraid of. Failure is something like, all right, how do I make this incorporate into the story and it actually builds upon itself? Because, again, failure makes for better stories. Krieg, I think, is going to be a lot of fun because he's not so serious that, like, you're going to be disappointed if something doesn't work out. And I want that for you. I really do.
Mm-hmm.
When we have Bellatrix and we have Shamgar, we already have them with their own little niches that make it funny. Like I said today, I was already developing dialogue and different things for a certain character that I was literally crying from how hard I was laughing because I can't wait to share it with you guys. I think it's going to be just amazing. That being said, maybe depending upon how you've listened to what we've had to say and the different hints that we've kind of dropped inadvertently along the way, there is somebody that's going to be joining us for this next campaign. This is the first time we're actually confirming it. Mike,
I
Will
will
you
be
be-
playing, and I'm very excited. I'm going to be playing a druid Yuan-Ti, pure blood.
ooh, fancy.
A what?
Yuan-Ti, it's like a snake person.
A snake person.
Yes.
Okay.
They have a very complex culture.
A snake person druid. Rad.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Mike's character will be native to
Can't wait to
Saltmarsh,
hear all
so
the
he will know a lot
conversation.
of how the community works, a lot of the in-depth knowledge of the town, the village of Saltmarsh, a lot of its peoples. So he's going to get a lot of insight onto the campaign that all of you won't have, because you're, as we recall, you're being teleported in some way, shape, or form from your last encounter with the hag to this brand new place. So you guys are going to come in, you have no idea where you are, what's going on, and you're going to meet eventually this new druid, and then from there probably group up together and then go conquer the different things that are to be had around Saltmarsh and its various neighboring regions. It's supposed to be full of high seas adventures. There's some horror to it. There's a lot of politicking.
What a year to do that.
And, well, I mean, it's not the same. D&D politicking is not the same. So I look forward to seeing how you guys conquer these different challenges.
David, it is a Q&A. We're going to get to your question here in a second. Sorry, go ahead.
So it's how do you guys carve out a life for yourself in Saltmarsh when you finally leave Saltmarsh to do the first mission, which quite frankly is one of my favorites of the entire campaign, is the very first mission. It's something I don't get to do very often, and you guys haven't really particularly played. So I look forward to that and how you guys solve that problem. And again, just the jokes that I've just been coming up with and how I'm going to do the characters and whatnot. I'm telling you, I've been working on an Indian accent. And I've been also working on a Korean accent because of some characters that are going to be within the village that I think is going to be hilarious to talk to. And when you guys go throughout, I'm going to have a different type of loot generation system that I've come up with that will help me give you guys goodies along the way as we go throughout the campaign. I'm still working out other things, and I will say that we're probably not going to kick off next Tuesday. We're still probably going to have to do an OTR. I have to work on certain things a little bit more before we kick off next Tuesday.
Oh, okay. If you need any help, like getting images and whatnot, because
I haven't worked on any of the images yet. I will say that of everything that's inside the book, the one thing that I'm not going to be taking from the book, because I think it's actually pretty bad, is the ship-to-ship combat. I think is subpar in the Ghost of Saltmarsh. So I'm going to be using a different module for ship-to-ship combat and things of that nature.
okay.
So we're looking probably more like a 16th as opposed to an 8th starting date?
We shall see. Schedules pending. It is a
Okay.
new month for me, and that means different weekends that I will be away.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Yes. All right. So really quick, David asks. He says, "So who was your guys' favorite character in this campaign, and why is it you pick Julio?"
Julio was not my favorite, but it was fun to see. It was fun to see the amount of spirit that got put behind Julio. From just being randomly generated in that day, all right, this guy's named Julio, and then I rolled and was like, oh, he's gonna be a flame guy. All right, so that's what he does. And then he ended up being successful, highly effective. People liked him for that because he was dependable. And then David
better
just
than
really attached to him
stupid
as a
marksman.
viewer. So bringing him back was this is
better
going to
than
be
stupid
a
marksman who
huge
died.
deal.
David wants to know when there's going to be a DBZ D&D.
DBZ. So here's, and if you watched our last OTR podcast, we already lined up how this is going to move on from here. Once we're done with this chapter of Dungeons and Dimwits, we're going to go to another weird module, because that seems to be the rhythm that we got going on. We do D&D, and then we go to some different outsourced module of something like The Last of Us, and then we go back to D&D. This time we're doing Ghost of Saltmarsh. But what's in the pocket right now for after Ghost of Saltmarsh
Is the Oregon Trail.
is not the Oregon Trail. It's going to be Manifest Destiny Grand Caravan Out West. So it's going to be old school Western kind of theme that we're going to be doing in the next one.
Very excited for that.
I have
I already got a good.
no more
great
details
character
beyond
for
that have been
one.
figured out yet. So that's what it's going to be. Is I like to think personally, as I create the storyline for it, a lot of it's going to be based off of, if you ever seen Lonesome Dove. There's going to be a lot of that theming in there.
You should watch Deadwood.
Deadwood?
Deadwood's a good one.
I
for
have
that
seen
too.
Deadwood. That is a show that got canceled before it finished.
Yes.
Um,
Like Firefly.
I maybe watched that when I was too young to be watching Deadwood. I'll tell you that. When I watched that,
Firefly was an amazing show. Ended too early.
but you know,
Serenity
speaking of
did not help.
great villains and Ian
So you
McShane
know
quotes,
Santiago, right?
Ian McShane and Deadwood,
Santiago
Mm-hmm.
in Portland.
Yeah.
great
In his office,
weird character.
Oh, check it out. I
He
never
has
watched
the
Deadwood.
schematics to the Firefly framed in glass behind him. If you ever do a voice or a chat with him,
Oh, if I'm ever in those meetings.
yeah.
Yeah, fat chance of that happening anytime soon, but
Oh, I don't know.
I'm going to keep an eye out now.
So what is your character's name, Mike?
Yeah.
Tashriel in Realar.
Oh, I'm gonna have to
So I'm
figure out
just
how to
gonna-
say that.
Just going to start calling you Riri.
Tosh.
We
You say Tosh, but I don't know if you heard our Dungeons and Dimwits. Shamgar butchers every name.
Yeah, well.
you will probably have a lot of homework, as you're supposed to be privy to a lot of in-world knowledge that these guys, like I explained, won't have, because you're a native of this place.
And I haven't-
Okay, hold on, David.
I haven't put it in concrete about the Yonti thing,
Mm.
but that's what I'm leaning towards. I might be Triton. We'll see.
Triton.
What?
That will be
Oh,
pretty
no.
common locally, actually.
Is
Triton.
that who I think that is?
That is.
Oh no.
Oh,
That's
dude,
Ju-
he
that's
just
Julio.
he did a Last of Us AI generated Julio.
He did. He
That
sent it to
sombrero
me.
is so huge.
It is. That is.
That's profiling.
It's AI that did it.
Still profiling.
That is like the best thing ever. I am so enjoying this. That's Julio.
That is amazing.
The only thing that he's missing, David, is his flamethrower.
To answer this question, though, I think my most favorite character coming in and out of that game that I got to play, it kind of bounced around. It depends on who I had the most fun with. It was pretty entertaining to do Buddy Knox. I liked doing Olsen Green too. I thought that was highly effective at being annoying. I liked playing from time to time. I liked when I got to do Adam Wright.
Olsen Green.
Adam, who I based a lot off of Monk from the same name TV show. And-
Adrian Monk
Yeah.
was the character's name. TV series Monk. Crime detective comedy. Great show. Loved
Great
it.
show.
Yeah, I love that show. Really shows you how the world's aged too when you see the technology in that show.
Yeah.
Though I was bummed when they changed out his caretaker.
I was actually okay with it, and the reason why is because when I got into the show, she was the caretaker at the time. So when I went back, when there was like on-demand video and whatnot, and I actually got to watch the beginning of that series. That's when Sharon got to me, and I was like, I don't
Sharona.
like Sharona.
Sharona. Yep.
Yeah, and I was like, I don't like Sharona. I want that. I want Miss Tiger again.
I don't know. I think they handled the change pretty well in that
Yeah.
series.
Yeah, I get it.
Unlike how they normally do, which is they just swap them out and don't mention anything about it. I hate it when they do that. Sitcoms do that stupid stuff all the time. But
I will say that when you guys get into this new place, there's going to be a lot of especially starting off, there won't be a tremendous amount of combat because there's going to be a huge emphasis on world building, exploration, exposition, carving out your path in the village and what you're doing. There's this system that I'm going to be introducing to you guys where you can actually like get jobs. As like weird as that sounds in an RPG game, you're going to be able to figure out how you're going to be able to contribute to this community, the different shopping mechanics. You can even influence the rumor mill, what's going on there, play a part in politics, maybe even rise through the ranks if you want, find different
That one wasn't as good.
like associations, figure out what is the greater picture of the kingdom that Saltmarsh is in, what the king's all about, what the Navy's doing, what the pirates are doing, who exactly is the Scarlet Brotherhood and what are they doing here, and whether or not you want to join any of these factions along the way. So this is going to be something where you will have your kind of base of operations will be out of Saltmarsh, but you'll be traveling out of Saltmarsh quite a bit and coming back and being able to again contribute to the community, either adding things or taking away from it if you choose to be evil, which I doubt, but we'll see. Yeah, I really don't want to spoil that first mission, but it's probably my favorite one out of all the modules in there, where we get to see some like, I guess the funniest hint I could give you is we're going to see some Scooby-Doo action going on in that first mission. Once we get settled into the town, probably by session 2-ish, probably, maybe, we'll get to do some Scooby-Doo stuff. And it'll be scary, funny, and mysterious all at the same time.
I think it's kind of funny how the Saltmarsh campaign even came up. And the way I remember this, at least, I was watching the Pirates of the Caribbean movies, and I was like, man, I really want to, this would be kind of fun to do with D&D. So I showed up to Kenny's house on one of the sessions. I was like, hey, is there like a pirates thing? And Kenny was like, I am so glad you asked. Yes, there is. That's one of my favorites.
Go with some
It goes to Saltmarsh. We're going to have a great time. And he has been like running with it ever since. It's almost like he's been excited to get the last move over with so he can start Saltmarsh.
Well, you're not wrong.
Well, that
You
explains
hold the Last of Us book in one hand, and you hold the Ghost of Saltmarsh book in the other hand. You're like, which one do I really want to do?
that explains the ending of the last move.
Something that really does spur on the storytelling and whatnot is I do have 2 hours to try and jam the story into these sections.
If we can afford to go longer, you know.
I know, but like I really have to like try and like hustle the decision-making process because we went way over time on that last one just so I could fit the end of the story into it.
Mm-hmm. Yes, David, those are definitely better.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Oh dear.
Oh, I so wish I could show the
Double-sided
audience.
Gatling gun?
It is a double-sided Gatling gun that is shooting fire
That might
into
just be the muzzle
hordes
flash.
of zombie. His hat says Julio
Does it really?
on the top, on the brim of the sombrero. It says Julio right up here.
Oh, there is actual fire coming out of the barrels. Oh dear.
His hat actually says Julio. It's got his.
That is ridiculous.
That's so great.
Oh my
God.
goodness, David.
Oh. The sign in the background says Chuck Norris.
Oh dear. We got some Chuck Norris jokes going on in there too.
That's so great. Oh. Okay, so
Do you guys have any questions about the campaign coming up?
I have one. So,
42.
I swear to God.
you want to hand me those? I'm gonna snack on some. Nope.
So, how long do we? I feel like what was our last campaign? Candlekeep.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
Candlekeep Mysteries is actually not a campaign. Candlekeep Mysteries is a book of just a bunch of one-shots that I, in my own way, put together. I took the idea of Candlekeep Mysteries. It's supposed to be like, you can do this story, this one shot, or you can do this one shot. And what kind of drew them all together is they all started at Candlekeep, where you can go in to this library, this huge ancient library, and then you can open up a book or whatnot, and they all had different starting points from Candlekeep. And I just locked you guys in the library, and I was like, all right, we're just going to keep going through a bunch of these adventures until I'm done with this book.
So we did that for like what, 9 months?
We did that for a while. That's eventually when I let you guys out of the library. Yeah, a lot of it was like
A sentence so weirdly said.
I wasn't entirely sure what I was going to do with you guys later on in that.
Also a weirdly said sentence.
When you guys ran into the war that was going on, that was me. Like, that was a filler episode, like 100%.
I really liked it.
A lot of what you guys did, it was like the illusion of choice, like I discussed with you prior about that same episode, is it didn't matter to me what you chose. It was pretty much going to roll out the same way. Like, whatever side you ended up choosing, the other side was going to get the things they already set up as the bad guys. It just, the way it wound up is just how it wound up. Everything was going to be the same. And that was me just getting by another week so that I could work on how I wanted to genuinely push the story. And that's when the hag came in afterwards. And then just because we were switching so radically from this environment to Ghost of Saltmarsh, I was just like, and once you defeated the hag in her own personal domain, you guys wind up here. And this was supposed to be like her place of origin when she died. So you guys were brought to Greyhawk at the Saltmarsh Beach. So that is where we are kicking off
I thought
from
it was
there.
pretty fitting that our adventure started with a hag, and the season ended with a hag.
So my question is, so we did that for that. How long do you think it'll take us to do Saltmarsh?
Not a clue.
Respectively?
Not a clue. I have no idea how long it will take you guys to get through each mission, which is in and of itself an independent module.
David
So,
would like to know if Julio is returning.
couldn't tell you. Couldn't tell you.
Big shrug.
Probably not. If we were to lean one way or the other, probably not.
Oh, you hear that, David? He said no.
There's only
He's
really
denying
one
you your
person that
Julio.
bounces from campaign to campaign.
Yeah,
So-
his body bounces on the ground each time he dies.
We'll see what kind of character he is. I so badly want to get into it because I think it's funny.
No spoilers.
I know. It's right there. It's just in my heart, and I want to share it with you guys. I think it's great. I love it so much. Yes, I do. 100%. I'm super looking forward to Ghost of Saltmarsh and how it's going to play out for you guys.
Nick is cured. Nick got cured, David.
Yeah, I'm very excited for Saltmarsh. I'm a tiny bit disappointed we aren't starting next week. Like, I
Oh,
understand why not, and I'm not trying to criticize. It's just like, I'm just genuinely, I was excited to start next week, so I'm a little saddened that we're not, but like, I get
Yeah.
it.
I've been pretty busy lately.
Understandably so, like I said, not a criticism, just a general, oh, darn. Okay.
Yep. We get to start that maybe 2 weeks from now. Kicking things off
Well, it's either
with
2 or
a
4.
whole different world and a whole different half of the roster is different too. And man, so much exposition and world building and all that. Getting to know each other all over again. I really enjoyed just bringing in the Baba Yaga because Taylor said she wanted to be a warlock. And I was like, well, you got to have a pact with someone. What am I going to do here? And I was like, I think it'd be funny if I brought in the Baba Yaga and it got stuck in her. Like a la Kurama from Naruto style. And now, like, that's how she got her warlock powers, is because the Baba Yaga stuck inside of her. So that's how that panned out. And so it also gave me an external character that allowed me to, in some ways, influence the party without ever having any, like, direct control over anything. It was pretty fun to, like, forget about the Baba Yaga and then someone be like, I'm going to mentally attack you. And they'd be like, oh, well, this isn't going to work out too well, is it? So someone, I'm going to enter your mind. I'm going to die now because there's something in there that's far scarier than I am. So something like that, those generic moments, or not generic, organic moments where you're like, you make a mistake and you're like, oh, this is terrifying. This ended up happening.
I will say the one thing I am going to miss about Caesar is the ridiculous amount of damage I could put out with a Divine Smite and that Great Sword. Because, man, I could do, like, that one time where I just made a guy explode. That was pretty nice. That was pretty fun.
Yeah, you made that guy explode while he was wearing Nibby's armor.
Yeah, she was not
Nothing
very
of
happy
value
about
was
that.
lost.
Yeah, she was not pleased with
A
that.
huge oversight about that on my part that just kind of swept under the rug and no one really asked any questions about. Nibby's armor was immune to crits, and that's what you hit him with. And I just kind of ignored that and made it blow up anyways.
Happens to us all.
And then I did it again when she was evil.
She didn't like that either.
Shut that down mighty quick.
That episode sucked. I lost my drinking buddy, and she stabbed me at the same time.
Bummer, dude.
Well, you were avenged.
Yes.
You were violently avenged. Good God, that one was violent.
So is it going to be weird for you to be a player in D&D?
Yes.
Because you mostly DM.
Yeah. Yeah, for about 40 years.
That's a long
A
time.
little over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
You get to
I-
experience some pretty cool stuff.
I'm excited for it. I'm excited to see how it plays out. How the name Tashriel
In Real are.
Tashriel in real.
Never hear, never hear, never
I'm
hear.
so glad I'm just
Action
going to call you the druid.
Tosh.
Snock is a snick.
I'm really excited to see how that character is gonna interact with the other characters. It's gonna be great.
Well, fortunately, it's in Greyhawk. And I have a ton of personal knowledge about Greyhawk. I've never done this module as a DM or a player. But I know a lot about
About the area.
the world.
Greyhawk.
Well, that's good because like you're a native. Your character is a native of, right?
That's what he's saying.
Yeah. So that's gonna work out excellent.
But
Netuv.
I'll need to study whatever it is that you need me to.
Yeah, I need to send you a bunch of information.
Now remember, Taylor, pay attention.
Listening.
Remember, we're losing all of our gear.
Yes.
I know.
I'm
which
gonna
means
straight
no
up
more
video
orb
game
for
you guys.
me.
Yeah.
Like every sequel in any video game, you just start
Do
with
we get
nothing
to-
and you have to build back up again.
Do we get to start off with a level though?
I'm not going to give you guys any more levels starting off. You're going to be your level 3 or 4 characters. Your level 4 characters, excuse me. With none of your super baller gear that I ended the campaign with for you guys.
Figured out.
You're basically going to build back up from ground zero on your items. There's a little bit of catch up for the two of you that's going to have to be done relatively quickly. I do want to address part of my rules as a DM. First of all, the player themselves is the ultimate decider as to what the character is going to do, and no one's going to be able to rob them of that. You need to respect the boundaries of that. But two, when it comes to player versus player, I'm typically against that. And there's only certain circumstances where I'll allow it. Every campaign I do, there's at least one session where I'm like, all right, we're going to sandbox this and see just who wins. And we're going to find out. And we'll have fun
remember-
with that because last time Caesar won. We
Current
did it
reigning champion.
all v all. So we'll cycle that in there somehow, either out of session as a one shot that has no bearing on the actual story, or we'll somehow organically put that into the story in some sort of fun Coliseum way that I'll pull out of nowhere. But that being said, don't infringe on somebody else's choices for the character, and don't force any sort of player-on-player combat or conflict. So don't be the rogue that steals from the party unless it makes a whole lot of sense and it's got consent from the other players to be stealing from the party. Don't be the paladin that's like, if you don't go with the lawful good side of everything, then I'm going to start attacking you. They bounce off each other. We're a group of friends. Typically, we try to stick together and we try to solve the story as one cohesive unit.
I think we Have we not done pretty good?
No,
about
this is not.
You're just
attacking
laying down
anyone
rules.
here or saying that this isn't what you
Okay.
guys are doing. That's just my personal rules as a DM to help have fun at the table.
Yes. Awesome. So David would like to know when Clifford the Big Red Dog D&D.
No.
Dibs on Clifford.
Naruto D&D.
So, no, the farthest that I've mapped out is we're going to do Manifest Destiny after Ghost of Salt Marsh.
Devilman Crybaby.
And I think
D&D?
I'm only ever going to be like one step ahead of the curve on exactly what it is we're doing. If I keep going way far out, things will change often.
What did he say now?
It's not one I can read.
Hold on. I'll pull it up real quick.
Oh dear. What time are we at, Tony?
We're 4 minutes over.
Oh, okay. Well,
School bus driver D&D.
no.
Thanks, David.
School bus driver
Jerk.
D&D.
Here, I'm gonna let you read it before we end it out.
Oh, are you sure?
Yeah. Don't read it out loud. Right down here. Third one up from the bottom.
Oh. I don't find that nearly as funny as what you made it sound like.
I thought it was. I mean, reading it right off hand was caught me off guard. I thought it was hilarious.
That being
Anyways,
said, thanks guys for joining us in another episode of Off the Rails Podcast, special edition Zombies. I've been your host, Kenny. It was an absolute pleasure running the Last Move campaign for you guys. I'm joined by my good friend.
hey everyone, I am Tony, the guy who pushes the buttons. Played Nick O'Barry. I had a lot of fun with the Last Move, but I'm really excited to get back into Dungeons and Dimwits and start building up Shamgar and see where he goes there. And the next module, the School Bus Driver D&D module, that's going to be amazing.
That's not
It's going
happening.
to be great, 100%. It
That's
is,
gonna
and
be
it
a
is,
running
and I have
joke
the
now.
vote of my friend.
You have the
right
vote
here.
of your
Yeah,
friend?
The vote. He's going to vote with me, my friend.
Absolutely not.
What's my friend's name here that's going to vote for me? Rude.
Just flick that hand right off your shoulder.
Don't try to calm me into your crap.
Slaughter bottle.
I'm gonna throw it on the road.
Slaughter bottle.
Anyways, hey guys, I'm Ian. I played Corporal Daniel Barnes, somewhat bittersweetly signing off as that for the last time. I really liked that character, and I'm kind of sad never really gonna play him again. But it was fun while it lasted.
I get that.
I enjoyed the time,
Mm-hmm.
but there's a small part of me that I put a lot of myself into Barnes' worst aspects. I really liked him being a sleazeball, and so a little bittersweet here, but I had a great time. As usual, I'm joined by.
Hey guys, I'm Taylor, and I played the character Noah Anderson, which I'm actually gonna miss. I kind of was really good with the party.
Was it because she was tall?
Yes, it was because she was tall.
Just wear heels. It's fine.
You know, it's not the last time you have to be tall.
Wear heels for an hour and then.
She can't wear heels. She gets altitude sickness.
I'm a normal-sized human being. I don't have your problems.
And I'm joined with.
You are not a
Hey,
normal
everyone.
sized human
I'm
being.
Mike. I played Dr. Thibodeau, who I also will miss, but had a very good time. Thank you for inviting me.
Awesome. Tony, hit him with the facts.
All right. Make sure that you like, share, subscribe. Find us on all the social medias. I'm going to list some of them off, but not all of them. YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, which is now X, and Twitch and Rumble, and some other ones out there that I've set up. You know, find us on the internet. As always, it's
Your
Your
move,
move,
Internet.
Internet.